Hello and welcome to my erosion guide with Psy and Blooncineration. This is definitely not the easiest strategy, but it's still pretty easy and it's pretty cool. So yeah, let's get started by placing a sub as high as possible and so that the right side of the range border touches the right side of this crack right over here. This shouldn't be too difficult of a placement. You can still be off by a little bit, like quite a little bit, and not lose. And then place a dart monkey right over here as left as possible in such a way so that the bottom right part of the range border touches the edge of this like chunk of the ice. And set this guy to strong and upgrade him to long range darts once the sub pops the greens. And yeah, that's all you gotta do for a few rounds. See you when we actually have to buy something. Before round 9, upgrade your sub to a 001 twin guns. And then, before round 14, upgrade it to a 002 airburst. Before 18, get Psy right over here, on the bottom left corner of this small chunk that's like off of the big main chunk. And then set it to strong. And then just upgrade your sub to longer range and then get intel when you can afford it. Intel is very important for this sub. And once you've gotten it, we don't have to do anything until round 28, so see you then. Before round 28, place a mortar right up here above like the small thing that goes down on the main ice platform. Just place it as bottom right as possible right above that. You won't be able to fit it on that anyway, so just place it above there. And then upgrade it to a 010 faster reload and set the targeting like right around here. It might seem like you'll have to micro, but you probably won't have to. You just won't have to in most cases. So yeah. Just before 31, place a druid right up here, like, yeah, right up here, and upgrade it to a 030 Druid of the Jungle, and then mid-round, upgrade it to a 130 Druid of the Jungle. Oh yeah, that mortar will end up becoming our Blooncineration later, and we can't afford a 130 Druid before round 28, sadly, so we have to buy the mortar then. 33 has a very scary thing known as a little bit of Psy micro. Once red balloons start making it close to the exit, switch them to first, and they should catch them, and the rest of the yellows. After that, I guess you can just leave them on first. Doesn't really matter. Whenever you can afford it, place a village right over here, kind of like as bottom right as possible next to the mortar without being above it. It's kind of weird, just in that spot. And then upgrade it to a 002 Monkey Commerce. And 35 should be completely fine. You shouldn't have any issues with the rainbows in 99% of cases. So that's kind of nice. And then for 36, we gotta place another dart up here so our airburst sub can see. And then get your mortar to 020. And if your Druid of the Jungle has bad RNG, you might want to micro the mortar a bit. Only for the first wave though, you should be fine on the rest of the waves. It's also important that Psy is on first for this round, so they can catch the camo greens. And then just set your mortar around the front for the rest of the rounds. And then you're also going to upgrade your village to bigger radius, just so you can put this Dartling Gunner a bit lower. So you want to place it as bottom left as possible. Psy should handle the camos on 37. You should place the Dartling as bottom left as possible while still being in the discount range on that main platform, of course, and you want to check that you can fit an alchemist between the two. It's very important that you can do that, because these are the two towers you want to buff with it. And then just upgrade that dartling to a 202 before round 40. And then start working on upgrading your mortar to a signal flare, 023. This guy will be our literal only source of camo detection for the entire run, except Psy, but we don't really count them. But yeah, it's going to be the only source of camo detection our entire run, and is kind of needed. I don't know what I was doing there, but yeah. Okay, for round 40, you want to put it on slow speed so you can micro the dartling perfectly to hit every single dart on the Moab. This should allow you to pop it before it exits, and Psy and your druid should handle it. But something very important that I have to note, in 99% of cases, you should put your druid of the jungle on last exclusively for round 40, and then set it back to first for the other rounds. This just makes it 100% guaranteed. Here I got lucky, and I forgot to do that, and I was freaking out that I forgot to do that. So yeah, make sure to do that, because if you don't, there's a good chance you die. And then for round 42 and onwards, you're going to set Psy to strong, because this will help them pop the ceramics instead of like the blues, which are more of an issue. And then before 43, nope, not there, here, place two 110 glue gunners set to strong. These guys don't really help much for 43, but they help a lot more on 47 and 49. They're the only reasons those two rounds are even possible with this setup. And then you're also going to want to micro your dartling to catch any leaks. It's not much micro, but it is very important. And then get buckshot. And then I don't do it here for a little bit, but you should upgrade your village to a 202 jungle drums. That's very important. As I said earlier, get jungle drums on your village. This mostly helps for Psy, because it gives them jungle drums and decreases their very small attack cooldown. I think it helps for Psy. I don't know. I guess it helps for the buckshot too, and the signal flare. But yeah, you should absolutely murder 47. .49 will usually always look like it's going to be pretty scary, especially the ceramics, so just a little bit of dartling micro should fix any problems. Yeah, that's all I really have to say. You can also switch Psy to first temporarily. I guess that could help. But yeah, 49 shouldn't be much of an issue. And then you should pop just a few of the Bloons on 50, and then you should afford bads. And then just set it to target independent. And now, just one final finishing touch to the setup before we get the Blooncineration. Remember before when we had to check if an alch could fit between the mortar and the dartling? Now we're actually going to be placing that alch and upgrading it to a 320. Well, 420, but I could afford 320 in that exact moment. But yeah, just get it to 420. You should be able to afford stronger stimulant right before round 54. And now, we'll start to save up for the Blooncineration. You should be able to afford Shattering Shells at around round 59. If any price changes happen in the future, it might not be exactly on 59, but yeah, you should afford it on 59. It takes me a while to realize, though, when I only buy it on round 60. So, yeah. .63, you don't actually have to do anything like 99% of the time. because both of our save-up towers just so happen to be really good against this one round. So, yeah, if you feel like you're scared for any reason, though, feel free to use a Psy Scream. Stun won't do anything because Psy is not in range, but Scream can help if you're feeling scared. Alright, so we're back for 75. On 75, you'll probably have to use one or two abilities on the packs of BFBs. I use a Scream here because I got scared. I'm not entirely sure if I had to, but usually you will have to use a Stun or a Scream on the first one. But the second pack of BFBs will be completely fine. And then use whichever ability you didn't use on 75 on 76. It's that easy. 77 is completely fine with abilities, so you don't have to do anything. For 78, you will definitely have to use a Scream on the first wave, and then also move it down, or move your mortar down a little bit to, like, the bottom right tip of that chunk of ice, just so it has better decamo radius and none of it's being wasted. And then for the second wave, you'll definitely have to use a Scream, and I'd also recommend using a Stun just to catch any Bloons that might not get caught in the Scream and might slip by your Shattering Shells. But yeah, if you've done that, you should win the round. No issues. At the end of 79, you should be able to afford the Blooncineration. This guy will be our main damage dealer for the rest of the run. Oh yeah, and on round 80, feel free to use a Psy Scream if you'd like. Shouldn't be required, but I guess some stuff can get past just a little bit. And now, place an Ice Monkey as bottom right as possible next to your village, but don't upgrade it yet. Just not yet. This will become an ice platform for us to place more stuff on later, but we won't have to place anything now. And then, right next to your Ice Monkey, place a 024 Relentless Glue and set it to Strong. This guy will provide a very valuable Moab and DDT slow, which we definitely need because DDTs and Moabs are a pretty big issue this run. Whenever you have the money, upgrade your Ice Monkey that we placed before to a 042 Snowstorm. This guy is very important as he will create an ice platform when literally everything else disappears, and will actually be able to place stuff, which is kind of nice. The reason I picked 042 instead of 240 is because the DDT slow was not needed, and it's just better for ceramics in general, and those are a small issue in this run, not a big one though. Also, it's just a bigger ice platform, and I guess that helps. It probably does. But yeah. The reason we're not placing anything now, even though we will place stuff in this exact spot later and there is space, we're not doing that because good game design made it so that if you place stuff there and then the platform gets removed, even though it's on an ice platform and it should stay, it still gets deleted and you don't get any money back, so it's just best to wait. I'd also recommend using a Stun on 87, and possibly a Scream as well, just to help a little, because we don't have much support yet, and 4 OMGs is still a lot to handle. I also got a tiny bit frightened on 88 here, but you shouldn't. You should be okay. After the ice is gone, move your Blooncineration over here, like right on top of your Ice Monkey. Surprisingly, the Ice Monkey is completely fine with this and doesn't melt. I'd also recommend using a Psy Stun on round 90. And then for 91, I'd recommend buying all of the things that I buy next round now, just to help a little bit and prevent yourself from using a Scream, which I'm pretty sure I use here. So, yeah. If you buy the stuff I buy next round now, you won't have to do that. What I buy next round, or this round as of now, is 2 Moab presses with the top cross path set to strong, one right here, and one right here. And then a Sabotage Ninja right up here. Nope, not over there. Not over there. Not there. There. Right up here. You should be able to fit it above your Ice Monkey with no issues. '92 should get absolutely destroyed by the Blooncineration, which in my opinion is a pretty underrated tower. Like, it's pretty good, but it does need an alch buff, and usually it does need micro to function. Also, place another 204 Moab press set to strong, because we do have the money for that, and it is in fact in budget. For 93, use a Sabotage a few seconds after the round starts, just to murder the DDTs. And because we have a pretty big DDT weakness, even with a Sabotage, we're going to buy another one, because we need 100% uptime on that Sabotage on 95. This is the place I put it, but you can probably put it somewhere else and still be fine. Just not right next to your bads and your Blooncineration. You want it to be pretty far away from those. And yeah, use a Scream once all of the ZOMGs have popped on 94. On 95, use a Sabotage immediately when you see a DDT, and when you see the cooldown of that Sabotage that you used go to about 75%, use your other one, because if it passes 25%, then the Sabotage has ran out, and you will probably die, because the DDTs come in very fast, and we have nothing that's really good against them. Also, use the Psy Stun. That helps too. Like, use the second Sabotage when your first one runs out, and I even used a Snowstorm here. You probably don't have to do that, though. On 97, we're going to start to prepare our main round 100 damager, a Spike Storm. 042 because it's just the better crosspath in this situation, and set it to smart just so that the Moab Shredder spikes go to the end of the track. And then for 98, use the Sabotage just as soon as the round starts, and I'd recommend using a Stun as well, or a Snowstorm. Either works, but you could probably even get away with using both. You ideally want to pop all of the ZOMGs down to BFBs before using a Scream, but I am not able to do that here because I don't use a Stun, and I get overwhelmed pretty quickly. Like, here I use it. That was pretty close call. I still end up being fine, but I didn't actually have to use a Snowstorm. I thought I would. And then for 99, place a First Strike here. Like, just a First Strike sub right over here. This guy will finish off the bad, as it normally does. And then just use a Sabotage, and if you didn't use a Psy Stun, feel free to use that. You shouldn't have to, though, because it's only just a few DDTs. They would be fortified, but Bloonsin gets rid of the fortification, which is very nice. And then, just the final thing we're going to do, place an alch buff on your Spike Storm. 320. You can't afford 420, but if this strategy gets any price changes, it might not work. So, you also definitely want to micro your Blooncineration a bit on round 100, more than I do. Use a Spike Storm once the bad has gone a little bit of the track. Doesn't really matter. Just use it somewhat early, and you want to micro your Bloons in a bit more than I do, because when I use my first strike, and I ended up using it kind of late too, there's still a Moab, which Sai luckily caught, but still kind of scary. Yeah, if you did everything right, and that was a lot, you should now have your Erosion Black Border with the Blooncineration, one of the most underrated towers in the game at the moment, in my opinion. Anyways, I hope this guide helped you out. Have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye.